Dear learner, I welcome you all in this MOOC course on Principle of Electrical Sciences. I am Dr. Sanjay Agrawal, Electrical Engineering Department, School of Engineering and Technology, IGNOU. In this session, we are going to discuss basic terminology related to electrical engineering like what is electrical current, what is a voltage, power and energy. We will also discuss Ohm's law and basic electrical elements like resistance, inductance and capacitances. Now we have to understand what is electricity. Electricity is one of the most important blessings that science has given to mankind. It has also become a part of modern life and one cannot think of a world without it. Most people don't understand what it is. They just turn on a light switch and there is a brightness, or start appliances or push a button and something works. It is only when there is no electrical power there then we start to consider the importance of it in our daily personal and working life. Now we have to understand what is an electrical circuit. The electric circuits are closed loop or path which forms a network of electrical components. This component may be the resistance, inductance, capacitance, voltage source and current source where electrons are able to flow. This path is made using electrical wires and is powered by a source like a battery. The start point from where the electrons start flowing is called the source, where the point where the electrons leave the electrical circuit is called the return. Now here you can see in the diagram there is two terms are defined, that is circuit and network. So first of all we have to understand what is the difference between circuit and network. So as I already told you that circuit is a combination of different electrical circuit elements. These elements may be the resistance, inductance and capacitance and energy sources. But circuit will always form a closed path. Network is also a combination of different electrical elements. These elements are the resistance, inductance, capacitance. But the difference between network and circuit is network may be open or may be closed. So you can say all circuits are network, but it is not necessary that all network are circuits. Now we have to understand what is electrical current. When an electric potential difference is applied across the metallic wire, the loosely attached free electrons as shown in figure 1 start drifting towards the positive terminal of the cells as shown in figure 2. This continuous drifting of electrons constitutes the electric current. Therefore, a continuous drifting of the electron in an electric circuit is called electric current. The drifting of electrons in the wire is from B to A, that is from negative terminal of the cell to the positive terminal through the external circuit. The conventional direction of flow of current is from A to B, that is from positive terminal of the cell to the negative terminal through the external circuit. The magnitude of flow of current at any section of the conductor is the rate of flow of electrons, that is charge flowing per second. It can be expressed mathematically as current is equal to Q upon T, where Q is the charge, T is the time. The unit of charge is measured in the coulombs and time is measured in second. So unit of electric current is what? Coulomb per second, or it can be termed as ampere. So unit of current is ampere. Now we have to understand what is a voltage. The electromotive force or potential difference causing the flow of electrons in any conductor is called voltage. The voltage is measured between the two ends of the circuit and the basic unit of voltage is measured in terms of volt. The waveform of the voltage from the household electrical power socket and from the terminals of dry cell in your pocket calculator are shown in figure. So in first figure this waveform is showing the electrical power which is available in our household, and the second figure the power the voltage with respect to time has been shown for the battery. So here you can see in case of the DC supply the magnitude of the voltage is constant with respect to the time. In case of the AC supply the magnitude of voltage is changing with respect to the time. So at time t equal to 0 the voltage is 0, but at time t equal to 10 millisecond, again this voltage is 0. At time equal to t equal to 20 millisecond, again it is voltage equal to 0. But here you will see at time t equal to 5 millisecond, the magnitude of voltage is 230 under root 2. So the magnitude of voltage is changing from 0 to maximum, then maximum to 0, then 0 to negative maximum, then from negative maximum to 0. So magnitude of voltage is changing with respect to the time in case of the alternating current, and in case of the DC the magnitude of voltage is constant with respect to the time. As I told you that we have to understand different electrical element, and these elements are the resistance, inductance and capacitance. So first of all we are going to discuss about the resistance. What is a resistance? Resistance is the property of a substances which gives the opposition to the flow of electrons through itself. If we apply the same voltage to the ends of the different material, the amount of current that flows will differ in each case. Resistance is the property that causes this difference. Higher the resistance, lesser would be the current, because you know current is directly proportional to the voltage divided by resistance. So as the value of the resistance is increasing, so current flowing through the circuit will decrease, because current is inversely proportional to the resistance as shown in the formula. In general, metal have less resistance and hence are suitable as conductor of electricity. The most common conductor are copper and aluminium. Gold and silver is also a very good conductor, but generally we don't use the gold and aluminium as a conductor, because cost of gold and aluminium is very costly in comparison to the copper and aluminium. Now we have to understand laws of the resistance. So the resistance, that is R of any wire, depends upon the following factor. First factor is it is directly proportional to the length, that is R is proportional to the length. So as the length of the conductor will increase, the resistance of the wire will also increase. Second point, it is inversely proportional to its area of cross sectional, that is A. So R is inversely proportional to the area of the conductor. So as the dia of the conductor will increase, so area of the conductor will increase. So area of the conductor will increase, so resistance will decrease. Third point is it depends upon the nature, that is atomic structure of the material of which wire is made. It also depends upon the temperature of the wire. Neglecting the last factor for the time being, R can be written as L upon A. That means R is directly proportional to length upon area. So this can also be written as R is equal to rho L upon A, where this rho is a constant of the proportionality called resistivity of the wire material. Its value depends upon the nature of the wire material, representing the third factor earlier. So as I already told you that it also depends upon the temperature of the wire, because RT is equal to R01 plus alpha T. So as the temperature will increase, the resistance of the temperature will also increase. Now we have to understand what is a conductance. The ease to flow current is called conductance. It is generally denoted by letter capital G. We know that the opposition to the flow current is called resistance. Hence, conductance is just reciprocal of resistance, that is Z is equal to 1 upon R. As you know, R is equal to rho L upon A. Just put the value R is equal to rho L upon A in this equation. So it can be written as sigma A upon L. And unit of conductance is generally denoted as mho. The symbol of this unit is written as mho. You can see in this particular slide. The unit of conductance is generally written as mho. Now we have to understand what is a conductivity. From the expression given earlier, that is sigma is called the conductivity or specific conductance of the material. It is basically the property of the nature of the material due to which it allows the current to flow through it. It can be written as G equal to sigma A upon L. So by this equation you can also write sigma is equal to GL upon A. So after putting the units of various quantities, we get sigma equal to mho meter per meter square. It can also be written as mho per meter. Hence the unit of conductivity in SI unit is mho per meter. Now we have to understand Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that current flowing between any 2 points of conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across them as shown in the figure 1, provided physical condition, temperature and pressure are kept constant. So mathematically you can write I is proportional to the voltage. So it can also be written as B upon I is equal to constant. Suppose you are applying some voltage V1. So if you are applying voltage V1, so you will get some current I1. Now again you are increasing the voltage V2, so you will get current I2. So here you can see that V1 upon I2 is equal to V2 upon I2 equal to V3 upon I3. So the ratio of voltage to the current is always constant. So you can say V upon I is equal to constant. In other words, Ohm's law can also be stated as follows. The ratio of potential difference across any 2 points of a conductor to the current flowing between them is always constant, provided the physical condition, that is temperature and pressure, do not change. This constant is called the resistance of the conductor. So you can write B upon I is equal to R. It can also be written as B equal to IR. In other words, you can also write I equal to V upon R. In a circuit, when current flows through a resistor, the potential difference across the resistor is known as voltage drop across it, that is V is equal to IR. So if any current is flowing through any wire, or you can say in any resistance, and you want to calculate the how much voltage drop in that particular resistance, so you can write V equal to IR, where I is a current flowing through the conductor. Now we have to understand what is the limitations of Ohm's law. Following are the limitations of the Ohm's law. Ohm's law is not applicable for the unilateral electrical element like diodes and transistor, as they allow the current to flow through in one direction only. And second limitation of Ohm's law is it cannot be applied for non-linear electrical element like capacitance, inductance. For non-linear electrical element with parameter like capacitances, inductance, etc., the voltage and current would not be constant with respect to time, making it difficult to use Ohm's law. Now we have to understand what are the different applications of the Ohm's law. The main applications of the Ohm's law are: first is to determine the voltage, resistance or current of an electrical circuit. Ohm's law is also used to maintain the desired voltage drop across the electronic component. Ohm's law is also used in DC ammeter and other DC shunts to divert the current. In this figure, you can easily remember the formula, how to calculate the voltage, how to calculate the current and how to calculate the resistance. So here you can see V, that is the voltage, can be written as I into R, that is V is equal to IR. And if you want to calculate the current, I can be written as V upon R. If you want to calculate the resistance in any resistance of the wire, then you can easily calculate R is equal to V upon I. Now we have to understand what is the electrical power. So the electrical power is the rate of doing work. In the case of electricity, we define it as the product of voltage and current. So power is used to produce real work. The measuring unit of power is joule per second or watt. So as I told you that power is a product of voltage and current. So P can be written as P is equal to V into Y. So 1 watt is equal to what? If 1 voltage is applied and 1 ampere is current is being flown through the wire, then you can say the power that you are getting, that is a 1 watt. Bigger unit of power is kilowatt. 1 kilowatt is equal to what? 1000 watt. Similarly, 1000 kilowatt is equal to 1 megawatt. Because as you know, P is equal to V into Y. So by this formula you can calculate the power, say at the same time you can calculate the current, and at the same time you can also calculate the voltage. So P is equal to I into V. So what will be the I? I is equal to P upon V and V equal to P upon I. All this formula is applicable for the DC power only, because we are not going to consider the power factor, because in case of DC the power factor is taken as 1. So P is equal to V into I. Now we have to again understand what is the electrical energy. The capacity for doing the work is called energy. To say it differently, it is the rate of doing work. multiplied by the time for which the power is applicable. Usually measuring unit of energy is 1 kilowatt hour. So as I say that you are going to consume 1 unit of electrical energy. So what is the meaning of 1 unit of electrical energy? Means you are consuming 1 kilowatt hour energy. 1 kilowatt hour can also be written as 1000 watt for 1 hour, or you can also write 3600,000 joule. So 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1 unit of electrical energy. So whatever the electricity bill that you get in your house, all the energy consumption is written in unit. It is also known as board of the trade unit, and large unit is megawatt hour, which is 1000 kilowatt hour. Now we have to understand another very important electrical element of the any circuit, that is inductance. So inductance is the property of a coil by virtue of which an EMF is induced in the coil when magnetic flux linked with that coil is changed. The change of flux may be due to changing current or is AC, that is alternating current. The measuring unit of inductance is generally written as in Henry. It is denoted by L. So as you know, the voltage across inductor can be written as V is equal to di over dt. So you can write V equal to L di over dt. So what will be the value of the L? L is equal to what? L equal to V upon di over dt. Here you can see the different symbol of the inductor. That is a air core inductor, iron core inductor, ferrite core inductor, and variable core inductor. The current I that flows through an inductor produces a magnetic flux that is proportional to it. An inductor opposes the rate of change of current flowing through it due to the buildup of self-induced energy within its magnetic field. Now we have to understand what is inductive reactance. Effective opposition offered by inductance is called inductive reactance. This inductive reactance can also be written as XL, and XL is equal to 2 pi FL, where F is the frequency. Generally the frequency in India is 50 Hz and L is the inductance. So XL, that is inductance, is directly proportional to the frequency and inductance. This 2 pi F can also be written as omega. So you can write XL is equal to omega L, and unit of inductive reactance is ohm. Now we have to understand capacitance. The capacitance is a component which has the ability or capacity to store energy in form of an electrical charge, producing a potential difference across its plates, much like a small rechargeable battery. So capacitance can be written as C equal to Q upon V. As you know, the current can also be written as I is equal to dq over dt. You just put the value of Q in this equation, so it can be written as dCV over dt. Because this C is a constant, so you can all write C dV over dt. The measuring unit of capacitance is farad. As I told you that Q, that is charge, can be written as C into V. So if you want to calculate C, then C can be written as C is equal to Q upon V. And if you want to calculate V, that is a voltage, so V can be written as Q upon C. This figure is very helpful to remember the formula, that is Q is equal to C into V. Now we have to understand what is a capacitive reactance. The effective opposition offered by capacitance is called capacitive reactance. It is denoted by Xc and it is equal to 1 upon 2 pi Fc, where F is a frequency. So you can see that F is a frequency, and frequency comes in the picture of in case of only alternating current. So if you want to calculate in case of the DC, so what will be the capacitive reactance if you are applying the DC supply? So Xc is equal to 1 upon 2 pi Fc. In case of DC, frequency is 0. So Xc is equal to what? 1 upon 0, that is infinite. So if you are applying the DC across the capacitance, so you are getting an infinite reactance. Infinite reactance means what? It will work like a open circuit. Similarly, in case of inductance, that is XL is equal to omega L, and omega is equal to what? 2 pi FL. So if you are applying DC across the inductor, so frequency is 0, so XL is equal to what? 0. That means inductive reactance is 0. Inductive reactance is 0 means short circuit. That means inductive reactance can be replaced as a short circuit. Now we have to understand impedance. The total opposition offered by a series circuit containing resistance, inductance and capacitance is called impedance. It is denoted by Z. So this Z, that is the impedance, can be written as Z equal to R plus JX. Measuring unit of impedance is also ohm. In this particular formula, that is Z is equal to R plus JX. So here X denotes the reactance due to the inductance or capacitance or combination of both. R is the resistance and this J is the symbolic representation of square root of -1, or this is called imaginary number and is used in the calculation of the complex equation in relation to the electricity. Using this representation of impedance, the associated current also has two components, that is real and imaginary, or active and reactive. We will deal with this in the next section. Now we have to understand what are the electrical loads. So electrical load can be classified as resistive load, inductive load and capacitive load. So devices that are connected to the power system are referred to as electrical load. The three load types are resistive, inductive and capacitive. Now we have to understand what is a resistive load. Unit of electrical power associated with resistive load are watts. So what are the example of the resistive load? Light bulbs, toaster, electric hot water heater and so on are the example of the resistive load. Now we have to understand what is the inductive load. Inductive load require a magnetic field to operate. All electric load that have a coil of a wire to produce the magnetic field are called inductive loads. Example of inductive loads are hair dryer, fans, blenders, vacuum cleaner and many other motorized devices are the example of inductive load. The units of inductance are called Henry. Now we have to understand what is a capacitive load. Capacitor is a device made of two metal conductors separated by an insulator called a dielectric, and this dielectric may be the air, paper, glass and other non-conductive material. Dielectric material become charged when voltage is applied to the attached conductor. Capacitor can remain charged long after the voltage source has been removed. Example of capacitor loads are the TV picture tubes, long extension cords and the components used in electronic devices. The unit of capacitance are called farads. So dear learner, in this particular session we have discussed the basic terminology related to electrical engineering like electrical current, voltage, power and energy. So electrical current is what? Electrical current is nothing but it is just rate of flow of charge. And what is the power? Power is nothing but it is a product of voltage and current. And we have also understood the energy. So energy is the product of power and time. And we have also discussed in this particular session the Ohm's law. So Ohm's law states that current is directly proportional to the voltage if physical conditions are kept constant. And what are those physical conditions? That is the temperature and pressure. And we have also understood the basic electrical element associated in electrical circuit. And what are those electrical elements? Those electrical elements are the resistance, inductance and capacitance. So as you know that resistance is directly proportional to the rho L upon A, where that means resistance of any wire is directly proportional to the length of the wire and it is inversely proportional to the area of the conductor. That means if area of conductor is more, that means resistance will be less. Then we have understood what is the inductance. That is, in unit of inductance is a Henry, and XL, generally inductance is denoted as a XL, that is XL is equal to omega L, and where omega can be written as 2 pi F. That means XL is equal to omega L. And we have also discussed about the capacitance, that is XC. XC can be written as 1 upon 2 pi FC. So these all are the basic terminology that we have discussed: electrical current, voltage, power, energy, Ohm's law, what are the limitations of the Ohm's law, what are the application of the Ohm's law. In the next session we will discuss about the DC circuit. In DC circuit we have to understand the basic definition like what is a active circuit, what is a passive circuit, what is a unilateral circuit, what is a bilateral circuit, and then we have to understand what is a linear circuit, what is a non-linear circuit, and we will also discuss about the Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law in next session. Thank you very much.